Good day, brothers, sisters, heathens. Glad y'all joined me today. I'm going to start right now with this, and I'm going to explain why later. So it's a 10-minute sand timer. I owe some people an apology. Brother Erastus and Deacon Wesley P., y'all told me to cut these videos down, and I have heard. Not so much I have heard, I have seen. I told y'all in the past, I ain't never been accused of being short of words, but I have been accused of not being know how to shut my mouth up. I'm flapping my gums all the time, and I've seen the videos out there. I've looked at what we posted, and Brother Erastus, I apologize. The foundation of Christianity is forgiveness. It's one of the cornerstones, because you can't be a Christian without asking for forgiveness. And to ask for forgiveness, you got to admit when you're wrong. It ain't enough to walk up to somebody and just go, I'm sorry. You know you did them wrong, and you're just going to say, I'm sorry. Or just walk up and say, hey, forgive me. Or maybe you want to be slick and do it as a question. Forgive me? I'm going to tell you what right now. If someone did me wrong and come up and walk to me and say, I'm going to say, forgive you for what? You sorry for what? You got to explain yourself. I ain't just going to hand out. I know I have to forgive you as a Christian, but let's have a conversation. Because those of you in relationships, husband, wife, spouse, partner, whatever you call them, you want to really test who they are and what they believe in and how, not really, what their psyche is. Next time they come up to you and say, I'm sorry, ask them, for what? And if they don't immediately go, well, you know, the other day I know that I had said this or I had done that and I apologize. Okay, that's the right answer. But if you were some kind of sociopath, narcissist, some heathen that can't say, their immediate response turns into something like, this is what you always do. You just can't take I'm sorry. You can't take forgiveness. You got to go in deep. You got to go. That's someone who has some serious issues, folks, and that's the world we living in right now, too, because we want everything to be easy. So I'm saying to Brother Erastus, I apologize, and Brother Deacon Wesley P. out there, y'all told me to make it shorter, and I'm making it shorter. Got the sand timer ticking right here. Matter of fact, we're down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and if I'm doing this, I want people to hear me. I want people to see it, not just me, but I want them to hear the Word of God. And if less than 100 people, that's who's watching the first video, and I think you combine the rest of them all together, they probably ain't even coming to 100. So we're going to do this. I'm going to try to go 10 minutes. It's real difficult for me. And Brother Bartholomew, God bless your heart, he'll listen to me babble on for 3 hours and never get enough. But let's move on. I want to talk about the news this week. We might start doing that every week when I do this stuff, because I think that's what relates to you and me is the news. Because it's reality and it's something that affects all of us, and it's something that we all get into, whether it be entertainment, sports, or just the news in general. It matters to us. So the Grammys was a big story this week. And y'all ask, well, maybe, Brother Darius, why are you watching the Grammys? I ain't watching that. I don't watch a whole lot of nothing, really, to be honest with you. But I like to watch the news. But when I wake up in the morning and I sit down on my throne and my holy of holies, because yes, I'm very regular. If I don't get that morning movement, boy, you don't want to know Brother Darius come noon, because something ain't right. I got to be, and so I like to read. I have a world site. I don't like to give nobody publicity here, so I won't tell you what I'm looking at. But you should have an international news site that you can dive into, so we can understand what's going on around the world. Because American news sites ain't worth a hill of beans. But anyways, the Grammys was a big story. And everyone was all worked up about these Grammys. Ooh, it was so satanic. So satanic, Brother Darius. Oh, a man come out dressed in red with all these women around him. It was so sexualized and demonic. They said it was satanic. Oh, they just made Satanism and they sensationalized it. What did you expect? You gonna act like this is new? I mean, King Solomon said that in the Old Testament. Ain't nothing new under the sun. This ain't new. You gonna tell me 10, 15, 20 years ago, people didn't say, ooh, this is satanic music. Hell, they thought Elvis Presley was the evilest thing ever when he came out rocking his hips around. And now you watch Elvis Presley, people go, boy, they just don't make music like that no more. Ain't no entertainers like Elvis. They beg for an Elvis Presley compared to what we got now. It ain't no different. Nothing's no different, because 20, 30 years from now, this is gonna seem tame. And as far as Satanists go, What you worried about someone who claims to be a Satanist, which no one did, by the way, on this thing. I mean, but what do you care about some nerd that wants to put some devil horns up on his head and what? It ain't your business. Don't pay it. No, never mind. You're a Christian. And the other big story was, as far as the Grammys goes, was some old whore. I'm not going to mention her name either. I'll give you this much. She's big in the 80s and named herself after the Virgin Mary and took on a name that was big in the Latin American community. And she was a whore then, a young whore, a pretty young whore. But you ain't never going to meet no old, beautiful whore. That ain't how it works, folks. And God bless her heart. She had enough money to get plastic surgery to make herself look halfway decent. Oh, but she's not recognizable. She's an old whore. That's what she is. That's what they're from. That's what they are. And don't let it bother you. Why are you worked up and worried about celebrities? I'm going to move on to another topic. I am going to use this man's name because I don't think he's going to sue me. Even if he does, ain't nothing bad, but ain't no such thing as bad publicity, as the wise man once said. And I welcome him to come on this show. And that's George Santos. He's a big topic right now. Man can't stop lying. He can't stop. He's a politician who can't stop. He's produced the Spider-Man on Broadway. His mother was killed in Auschwitz. He was a volleyball player. You lose track of how many lies this man has told. I'm going to tell you what right now. Hey, George, if you out there and there's someone else, I'm a fan. And here's why. Because you're a politician. And for folks, all y'all who want me to talk about politics, it ain't never going to happen. Because they're all liars. They're all liars. Every one of them. I just think he happens to be the king of liars. Like, I want to hear more. I mean, matter of fact, I think he's outlied all the other liars, which is why they hate him. They want to get him out. He's unethical. We got to do an investigation. He's terrible. I think he's just better than all of y'all because he don't give no never mind to nobody. He keep on lying. You can't trust one word come out of his mouth. And by the way, politicians, don't trust y'all neither. You just a little slicker and ain't got caught, and he's just a little dumber and tells bigger lies. So that's been the other big story. So I go into all that to say this. We get so worked up in this country about things that don't matter. They just don't. And I want to give you a verse before I go into the next thing. 2 verses. John 8, verse 44 and verse 45. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. And because I tell you the truth, you will believe me not. Not all people are God's children, folks. People love to say we all God's children. We're not. Ye are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. You want to know why this world is so cursed and so evil and so wicked right now? It's because people don't know Jesus, don't know God. They ain't got no God. They ain't saved. And they don't care about God. They're living the way they want to live. And another bigger story to me, the biggest story going on right now that ain't talked about enough is what's going on in the country of Turkey and Syria. If y'all don't know, which is a shame that our national media barely covers it, an earthquake in Syria and Turkey that is right now, the death toll is up over 20,000 people. 20,000. Wrap your head around that, folks. That's a lot of people. Some stories that come out of that is a woman gave birth to a baby and she died, and they pulled that baby out the rubble. Another man was having dinner with his child, his daughter, and a building fell down and her hand was the only thing sticking out the wall. He held her hand, laying there, sad. Why am I telling you all this? Because when you're in a situation like that, when the world's literally falling down around you, you don't care about the Grammys, you don't care about politics, you don't care about the latest movie coming out, you don't care about your Facebook, you're crying out to God. Please help me. Please help me. Get me out of this, please. I don't know why bad things like that happen. I wish I had an answer. People always say, why does God allow that to happen? Might be that that's the only time we really cry out to him is when we in tragedy, going through a divorce, going through something bad. That's when we reach out to God. That's when we call him out. And I ask y'all to do that this week. Call out to God. Don't wait for the tragedy to happen. I love y'all. Next week, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl. Ooh, I can't wait. There's going to be a lot to talk about. It ain't going to be about sports. Y'all understand that the average Super Bowl commercial costs $6.5 million. Think about how much that money could do for the world. Think what it could do for people in Syria and Turkey. People dying in Ukraine. People dying right here in this country, homeless and addicted to drugs. That's what we're going to talk about next week, because there are all sorts of things. I know Christians are even looking at advertising for the Super Bowl. I'm over 10 minutes. Said I was going to do it. I got darn close, didn't I? We're not all God's children. You need to know him. If you don't, understand, you are of your father, the devil, and the lusts of your father you will do. If you're doing things you wish you could stop, problem is you ain't never met. You need to be born again and have a new father. And that father is God. Call out to him today, people. I love you. God bless you. I'll see you in a week. 10:39. I did all right.